2-2, adding integers. Here we're going to learn how to add integers, positive and negative numbers together. We're going to start off real simple with numbers you've been using your entire life. Over here on the left, 2 plus 1. We know 2 plus 1 gives us 3. Next example down, we have 3 plus 4, and that gives us 7. Could spend a lot of time going over these types of problems, but you kind of already know how to do these. Over here on the right, we have a positive plus a positive, sort of a generalization. If we take one positive number and add another positive number to it, what do you think the answer is going to be? Is it going to be a positive number or a negative number? You will always get a positive number. At the bottom in black, you can use a number line. Okay, you're going to start with the first number, and we'll just use 2 plus 1 as an example to show how this works, just to review number line theory from way back when. Again, we little kiddies. Start at the first number, which was 2. You're going to move the number of spaces of the second number. It happens to be positive 1. So we're going to move 1 unit in the positive direction. So 2 plus 1 gives us 3. So there's a number line. That's how to use the number line for rather simple numbers. Below the number line. So we have a negative plus a negative. We have negative 3 plus negative 1. All right, so we're actually going to use the number line. We're going to start at negative 3. Put a dot on the negative 3. We're going to go 1 unit away, but we're going to go in the negative direction because there's a negative 1. And we do that, and we end up down here at negative 4. So negative 3 plus negative 1 gives us negative 4. Now we have negative 6 plus negative 4. The number line does not extend that far, so you kind of have to imagine putting a dot on negative 6. And we're going to go 4 units away from that, but we're going to go 4 units in the negative direction. So we would continue on the number line in the negative direction. So starting at negative 6, going 4 units away would take us to 7, 8, 9, 10. We would take us to negative 10. So negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. So we're going to make a generalization for this case as well. When we have a negative number plus another negative number, we're always going to get a negative number for an answer. This generalization only works for these two cases. Positive and positive will always give you positive. Negative and negative will always give you negative. Special cases works for addition only. Nothing else, because the rules will change. And again, using the number line, more than welcome to use a number line. My recommendation is if you're going to use a number line, put one number line at the top of your paper, and you don't even have to put numbers on it. You can put a dot somewhere and say this is your starting number, and then move accordingly up and down your number line based on what the second number is. These were the two easy cases. We now get to the one that seems to cause the most difficulty as far as adding integers. What happens when we add a positive number to a negative number or a negative number to a positive number? This is when our rule from the last page does not work. The signs are different. So we'll use a number line to see what actually happens. In the first example, 4 plus negative 3, we'll start at 4. We're going to go 3 units away from that number in the negative direction. Starting at 4, 1, 2, 3 units away gives us 1. So 4 plus negative 3 leaves you with 1. Setting things aside, if we start with negative 8 and we're going to move 3 units in the positive direction because it's a positive 3, so negative 8 and positive 3 would give you negative 5. There really is no rule for when you add a positive and a negative or a negative and a positive. There's other steps we need to take in a few minutes, but we'll get to that in a second. You should kind of notice a pattern here with these two types of problems. Moving back to the previous board, a positive number plus a positive number yields a positive number. We had 2 plus 1 equals 3, 3 plus 4 equals 7. Traditional. Moving into the negative numbers, I have negative 3 plus negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. I'm hoping you're noticing a small pattern here with those. And here we have 4 plus negative 3 gives you 1. And negative 8 plus 3 gives you negative 5. We're going to talk about some generalizations and some patterns so that we can move beyond using a number line. First, I want to introduce you to the additive inverse. The additive inverse is simply the opposite of the number you're working with. The additive inverse of positive 11 is negative 11, and the additive inverse of negative 7 is positive 7. Few problems doing that today. You're actually going to use the additive inverse as part of tomorrow's lesson. So we wanted to get that out of the way. So we go back to looking at adding integers. I'm going to show you some rules on the next board that will help you step away from using number lines for adding integers. General rules for adding integers. Number 1, if the signs are the same, add the integers and use their common sign. Jumping back 2 boards, 2 plus 1 is 3. Positive 2, positive 1, add them. You get 3, keep the common sign. 3 plus 4 is 7. They're both positive. 3 and 4 gives you 7. Take that positive sign that both of the numbers started with. Positive and positive is positive. It also works with the negative numbers. Here we had negative 3 plus negative 1. Add the two numbers together. 3 and 1 is 4. And take the common sign. They were both negative, so the answer is going to be negative. Same holds true with negative 6 plus negative 4. 6 plus 4 gives you 10. And since they were both negative to begin with, we added them, and we're going to make the answer negative. So, generalization, if the signs are the same, add the integers and use their common sign. Now for the more difficult of the two rules. If the signs are different, subtract the smaller number from the larger number and take the sign of the larger number. All right, that's the simple way to put it, but in case number 2 above, in this one here, recognize that you're subtracting the smaller absolute value from the larger absolute value and assigning direction to the answer at the end of the problem. So we're actually going to steal our problem, negative 8 plus 3, and write it right here, negative 8 plus 3. We're going to use case number 2. If the signs are different, this is a negative plus a positive. We are going to subtract the smaller number from the larger number. Just looking at the magnitudes of these numbers, recognizing that you are subtracting the smaller absolute value from the larger absolute value. Okay, 3 is smaller than 8. So we do 8 minus 3, and that gives us 5. And we're going to assign a direction at the end of the problem. If the signs are different, subtract the smaller number from the larger number and take the sign of the larger number. Since the 8 was larger than 3, we're going to take that sign, and the answer is going to be negative 5. This is a way of adding integers without using a number line. Your homework is book page 67, problems 12 through 44, the evens.